Awesome, Ed. So, yeah, share with us the good news. I'm really excited.
Well, Phoebe Lay, it's a pleasure. I just got to say, I always love talking to you, and I'm very excited because tomorrow touch wood, I'll be hitting 36,000 fans on LinkedIn, which is exciting. I remember when I
Wow.
first got 1,000 fans.
Oh, that's brilliant. What a milestone. And isn't it great when when you're building so much momentum on a social media platform that it doesn't even require much people, it just snowballs in such a good way.
Yeah, it's been incredible, and thank you for being such an active supporter. It's been awesome, and I got to say, I love some of the great stuff you've put out there, Phoebe, on putting videos together and content. Your ideas are amazing. I love some of your posts lately.
Thanks, Ed. It's been great, and I think it's such an important tool. Giving regular content, sharing news. Like, I don't know if you've heard, but Mark Zuckerberg has literally just released today the fact that Facebook small business owners can now sell their products on Facebook shops. So
Oh,
Facebook
gotcha.
has now gone e-commerce. Yeah.
Wow. Well, I suppose Facebook has to. They have to diversify in other areas to keep it moving. But that's exciting. I think Facebook has made some very intelligent moves lately, and I hope they keep doing that. This is great news.
Yeah. So, talking about intelligent moves, and today I wanted to have a quick chat with you around, what's going on, because obviously we're now seeing, we're kind of coming out of the whole isolation, full lockdown scenario, and we're now starting to move towards integrating back into society, but with a lot of changes. And obviously, some things are never going to be the same again. But Ed, I'd love to hear your opinion and your thoughts on what do you think is now going to be the new norm when it comes to businesses and how they are operating?
Great question. Now, I have been speaking to some of my friends within the party who are very intelligent people, and these are people that predict elections accurately. I've been speaking to those people. And it's interesting. Here's the big thing that really relates to us, especially in the Facebook, LinkedIn sort of sphere, right? The biggest thing that we've got to remember is that the COVID-19 corona has what made the world more digital. So the way I personally see it is COVID sped up online technology by 5 years in the mass population. Because if you think about it, 3 months ago, not everyone knew what Zoom was. Now, if you don't know what Zoom is, it's like, what rocket? Where have you been hiding? So
Yeah.
the whole world is now more intelligent online. They're more sophisticated, and it's added a huge, massive jump to that journey. Now, the reality is that the world will never go back the same way because online has progressed so quickly in such a short space of time.
Absolutely, absolutely. With that progression, because obviously this is an inevitable change, and people are starting to see that it's possible, for example, for employers to have their employees at home and working. People now have a lot more rights to work from home, and we've proven things that can actually be done, and things have sped up, like, in the last 2 months. I think things have sped up probably 10 years, and it's advanced very quickly. So what do you think, like, how do you think we can adapt to this change as business owners?
Yeah, I'll give you an influencer answer, being more influencer persuasion is my domain. From an influencer point of view, where I can speak with complete cred, my answer would be is that because the world is now more online, you can use your top platforms to become influencers. So for example, you are a top Facebook expert. More people are using Facebook for longer than they were 3 months ago. Right? Same for LinkedIn, same for TikTok, same for YouTube, same for Twitter, whatever your platform, everyone's into those platforms more. So as influencers, depending on your platform of choice, it gives you that opportunity to really take off. So for example, I was just having a good chat with my wonderful wife, Lassie, just before. And Lassie says hello, by the way, Phoebe.
Oh, hi, Lassie.
Yeah. And anyway, and what we're saying is, and I'll actually use Lassie as an example. Yes, I love her. She's my wife, but taking out all the bias for the moment, pre-corona, Lassie was doing okay on LinkedIn. Post-corona, she is a top global LinkedIn influencer now. She has people she doesn't know writing about her in blogs saying she's a top influencer, people that don't know her.
Mm.
And that came as a result of corona, because as corona kicked in, Lassie brilliantly dived into LinkedIn and really took off. And she's now a top influencer, a top global influencer on LinkedIn. She's done an amazing job. And the thing is that if it wasn't for corona, that may have happened 2 years later. But with corona, that happened 2 months later.
Yeah, things have sped up so fast, and I myself have found that LinkedIn for me has grown so quickly, unlike any other platform for myself. And I think it's probably also because corona allowed for more time to be spent at home, right? Because we're not commuting as much, we're saving a lot of time. So spending more time on LinkedIn has actually directly grown my business, which is awesome. And Facebook has always been a big part of my business, and obviously Instagram a really huge part of the brand. But Ed, I'd love to know, how can people become part of a digital entrepreneurship for those that have lost their jobs, or for those that are pivoting their business? How can they become a part of digital entrepreneurship?
Yeah, great question. I'll give three aspects to that. There's probably about a million different ways to answer it, but I'll give you my top three.
No, so
Yeah. The first thing is the business model, right? Like, how does it make money? So for example, as we all know, I'm quite into LinkedIn and also the Teachable platform. So for the sake of the audience, Teachable is one of the world's largest specialty course and membership site platforms. You can, within hours, have your online course already monetized and out the door. And so I'm a big Teachable guy. Teachable is a huge part of what I do. And in the case of Teachable, great company, highly recommended. That is an example of how I've monetized my knowledge in an online fashion. So the first thing I say to people is, you've got to think business model. What are you selling? How are you going to sell it? Now, again, I'm not, you're the Facebook expert, not me. You were talking about before. You can now list your products on Facebook. So be it LinkedIn, be it Facebook, be it companies like Teachable or Kajabi or Katra, whatever you're into. You've got to work out the actual business model, the actual mechanics as to how you're going to make money. That's the first thing.
Yeah, great. That's awesome. And for those that don't have a program yet, Ed, like, you've got an awesome online program, and I've gone through your Teachable modules, and you've got so much content out there. What would be the best advice that you could give for someone who, for instance, is now transitioning to online? They might be a dance teacher or a yoga instructor, and they can no longer teach their classes in a face-to-face group environment yet, and they are wanting to start selling or creating an online program. What would you say would be the best steps to get started, and how can they leverage online to continue their businesses?
Great. I'll give two parts to that question. The first thing is, if you're a yoga instructor, you might use Teachable to create your own yoga program. If you're a graphic designer, for example, you might use Teachable to create your own course to teach people graphic design. So you can use a system like Teachable. Now on Teachable, you can sign up for free, and they've got all these free videos you can watch to kick it off. That's the first part of the answer. The second part I'd like to highlight is, start thinking about who your customers are going to be and where they're going to hang out. Because as we all know, it's very important that you select your primary platform. Saying you're going to succeed on all platforms is like saying you're going to get a gold medal in basketball and swimming. It's not going to happen, right? You got to pick your primary sport or platform where you're going to succeed. So be it you're a Facebooker like yourself, you're a LinkedIner like me or Lassie, you're a TikToker or a YouTuber like my friend Dr. Steve Durley. There's a lot of different options that you have. So I'd look at a program like Teachable and then check out their free stuff, but also pick your main social media platform and start posting daily content to build yourself as an influencer.
Yeah, I love it, Ed. That's so true. And what I love about Teachable as well is that there are affiliate options. So affiliate marketing is also growing, and there's so many people that are now starting to use that as an additional side of income. How have you found that, Ed? Are you a big fan of affiliate marketing, or what do you think?
I'll give you this answer, right? I'll tell you where I am and I'm not a fan of it. I'm a fan of it when someone's an affiliate of a product they're using. I'm a huge fan of it. So I'll tell you what I like and what I don't like. I love it when people, let's say, are using a certain program and they become affiliate of it and they're an end user themselves. I'm really good with that. What I have a slight problem with, and it's not just Ed's opinion, a lot of people think this, is that when people just sell stuff they're not using themselves, or they don't believe in themselves, that I think I've got a bit of a problem with that, and a lot of people see through it. So again, Teachable, for example, I'm a proud affiliate of a Teachable, and I use it myself. You know, I would be uncomfortable being an affiliate of something that I'm not an end user of. So I think if you're a user, or at least you're right into it, that sets you up to become a very successful and persuasive affiliate marketer.
That's a really great point, Ed. And, you know, I think it's as thought leaders or as coaches or, you know, anyone who is advising people of things, or, you know, even like when people are business mentoring, it's so important that, you know, when we're selecting our mentors, especially, that we select people that have actually done it before, that are actually giving advice from a place of experience. So I 100% agree on that. That's good stuff. And when it comes to creating content and cutting through the noise, at the moment, obviously, people are now starting to really flood the internet, and we're seeing so much stuff out there. How can people stand out online, and what would be your best tips to standing out on LinkedIn?
Yeah, well, talking LinkedIn again, that's the best platform I can talk to. Talking LinkedIn, there's 3 general parts of advice that we give. Is firstly, your content needs to have value from your professional viewpoint. So for example, if I'm Phoebe Lay, and I'll use you as an example if I may, right? If I'm awesome Phoebe Lay and I'm a Facebook leader and specialist, I would be using LinkedIn to share how to use Facebook, how Facebook works, how you can target consumers. So first thing is you've got to create great content that has value, okay? So in your case, you would speak about, for example, Facebook, because you're very qualified to talk to that level. That's point 1. The second point I'd love to share with you all is that you need to be posting every day on a regular basis. Really good videos and great content. It's also important as well that you support your friends. So you don't just dump content on LinkedIn and then pray to Bill Gates for it to rank well in the algorithm. It doesn't work that way. You like and comment on your friends. They like and comment back. You're all supporting each other. And that brings me to the third point. You need what we call leverage. So a very common example is you run a weekly live webinar, because it's all good to jump on LinkedIn and share daily videos, but you need a sales funnel to bring people together. And we love and recommend weekly live webinars. Huge time saving. You can get heaps of people at once, and it gives you that beautiful sales funnel where you get results. And again, the 2 main platforms for live webinars are GoToWebinar and Zoom. When it comes to live webinars, we love GoToWebinar. When it comes to running more networking events, we love and use Zoom. So different technologies based on application.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think that you're definitely someone that can really speak about that space, because you've used both. And like for me, I used to run a lot of my webinars on GoToWebinar as well. And now I'm transitioning to Zoom. I see both as great platforms. You know, Zoom's very, very easy to use, but obviously there are the glitches there as well. And some people just have preferences towards one or the other, which is fine. But I'd love to know, like, for those that are wanting to find out about how to keep their events interactive, like Ed, you run these on a weekly basis, and I see
2 a week now. 2 a week.
2 a week. There we
2
go.
a week.
That's right. You've got your Monday and your Thursday night ones, in fact.
Yes.
And I'm wondering, how is it that you have kept it going for so long with that many people that attend, and how do you keep everyone so engaged and interactive?
Yeah, and you ask a brilliant question, which you're actually very good at. And I know I'm preaching to the choir on this one, Phoebe. What's very important is that to succeed as an influencer, you have to be entertaining. And when I say the word entertaining, I mean that relative to you. You have to be engaging, you have to be entertaining, you have to really to bring people on camera. And here's one of the big things is that it doesn't matter how correct that you are. if you're not able to really capture and emotionally engage your audience, you're not going to win. So for example, when I run my live webinars, I run it more like a radio talk show where I'm getting questions in real time. I'm not just reading from slides. I'm sort of talking to the audience like I would run a radio show, which I've done before. When I run my networking events, I'm more running it like I would a real world networking event. If I was in the room with 30 people, I'm running my event on Zoom exactly the same way. So it's very important that when you run a webinar, you got to bring people into the action. And that's what it's called. You got to bring your audience into the action. So you're not just lecturing a faceless audience, you're talking to them, you're interacting with them. So for example, when you look at, I'll use Hugh Jackman as a great example, right? Whenever you see Hugh Jackman, Australian actor for people around the world, Wolverine and all that, when you see absolute A-stars like Hugh Jackman, even when they're on stage, they actually look at their audience, they bring their audience into the action. So it's about creating a two-way experience that's educational, but also entertaining.
Yeah, fantastic. So you're a massive Microsoft guy, and obviously at the moment, there's so much political uproar going on. Have you gotten much backlash around that?
Well, the answer is not really no. I'm a huge Microsoft advocate and fan. I've been a Microsoft Bill Gates supporter my whole life. I've had a few people say some weird things to me about Bill Gates and Microsoft. But to be honest with you, Phoebe, I've heard weird stuff about Bill Gates and Microsoft forever. Okay, there's always been, it's like anything. You always hear weird stuff about our leaders going around, right? And what was interesting, to a few of my good friends, I actually said, send me some evidence. Okay, persuade me. And other than sending me weird websites with weird conspiracy theories, there was no evidence. And what was interesting is that some of the people were trying to persuade me that, Microsoft and Bill Gates are doing weird stuff. When I actually said to them, send me some evidence, because they're intelligent people, they actually started to realize, I actually got them to question their own sources. Okay. So I use this as an example. A lot of, and again, I'm just being politically neutral here, but a lot of people say that, especially Trump supporters, don't like Bill Gates. Bill Gates and Trump have been best friends for years. Bill Gates helped Trump get elected. So you got to remember that there's a lot of misinformation, a lot of fake news. There's a lot of fake news on both sides. Again, obviously I lean more towards the right. However, both sides have fake news. So what I invite people to do is don't just listen to what you hear, whether you like it or not. Okay. Always check into the facts and what you hear. And what was interesting is that, they couldn't prove it. It's like, prove it. I can't prove it, Ed. Okay, then are you sure what you're saying is correct? Got to verify your facts.
Yeah, and it's so true that there is actually a lot of fake news out there, and it's really important in a time like this that we are thinking about the information that we are taking in and being very selective with what we trust and the sources where that we are getting our news and information from. So where in terms of like keeping up with news, Ed, what, like, I know that we're kind of talking and moving a little bit away from like LinkedIn, social media and things like that at the moment, but I'm really curious to know, like, where do you like to tune into? What news channels or not do you tune into?
Yeah. Well, just on that, I'll answer. One thing I do want to say that I don't think we are moving away from the main topic, Phoebe, because you've got to remember, Microsoft owns LinkedIn and they do a lot of technical backup for Twitter and Facebook. So, again, I think it's very relevant understanding Microsoft. Again, I love Microsoft. I love Bill Gates. I love a lot of them. And in answering your question, I have a range of sources that I get information from. And I always, and by the way, just in defense of my friends, I've been suckered into fake news before. So I'm not coming out saying I'm some kind of edgy guy that knows everything. I've been sucked into fake news many times. And what I've learned through embarrassment and questioning my own ideas is that whenever you hear something, you need to verify it against a few sources. Okay. So for example, I watch a few really good guys on YouTube, and what they do is they put their sources up. When they say something, they give you their sources, and you can go check out the sources.
Great. That's fantastic. So, Ed, anything that you'd like to share with us in terms of moving forward from, in terms of just even the next 4 to 6 weeks? Any tips that you'd like to share with our audience around, keeping their business health in check, and also making sure that, they're not overwhelmed?
Yeah, great question. And I think a great place to start is what I say to everyone is wherever you are in the world, please make sure you've got maximum government benefits and stimulus. And again, this is not an influencer answer, but an important one. So in Australia, you've got Centrelink and you've got like the stimulus. So make sure you've got whatever government benefits you have to help you get through these times, whatever applies to you. Okay. Again, speak to your accountant, best way to invest, explore that one. They know everything. The second thing I want to say is don't just live day by day, have a plan and a strategy that will help you thrive in the post-COVID world. Okay. And the third one is you need to go for it every day. Like, for example, if you want to be an influencer on Facebook or TikTok, you're not going to, or LinkedIn, you're not going to achieve that by throwing up a photo every week. It takes a serious daily commitment. So for example, one of my clients from Canada I was speaking to this morning, I was up at 5:30 a.m. this morning working on my LinkedIn.
Wow. That is commitment, Ed.
Yeah, and then my client from Canada was like, wow, no wonder you're winning. Well, there you go. I was up at 5:30 on my LinkedIn, catching up with all my messages that came in overnight. The point I'm making is that you're not going to succeed on any platform with a tokenistic effort. You really got to go for it to really become that global influencer. And as I was saying before, like my wonderful wife, Lassie, before Corona, a lot of people didn't know who she was. Post-Corona, she's got people she doesn't know writing about her as a top global influencer. And bravo to Lassie, she's done an amazing job.
That's fantastic. So that brings me to my next and final question, Ed. And this is a big one. I think this is a really important one for a lot of us because of the fact that at the moment, there's obviously a lot of stress going on, right? Like there's a lot of uncertainty for many people. And for digital marketers and people that are now using LinkedIn and social media a lot more, and with it being, within hand reach and our phones always being around us, how do you switch off? And when do you say enough is enough for a day? Because LinkedIn messages, Facebook newsfeed things, direct messages, notifications, they never stop, right? So what's your limit, and when do you say, yeah, that's enough for the day? Like, how do you set your boundaries?
Yeah, well, what I generally do is I like to turn off my phone overnight. So I like to be in bed by 10, if possible, right? If possible. And I just turn off my phone. And this morning was a bit different. This morning I just woke up at 5 a.m. and I couldn't go back to bed. So I thought, I'm going to go check my LinkedIn. But if I woke up at 7, so be it, right? So I think number one is you got to actually turn off your phone, which is very important. The second thing is you got to be very careful where you invest your energy. Okay. So for example, I had a few people today that I blocked on LinkedIn because they were just spamming me, right? So instead of staying connected to these morons and putting up with their BS, I just blocked them and it felt great. So, I think it's turning off your phone, removing people from your life that are trolling you or spamming you or abusing you, which is very important, be it Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever platform, Twitter, YouTube. And I think the third point is you got to work very productively. So I, of course, use my phone for LinkedIn, but I also use my PC a lot because I find if I use my PC for LinkedIn, I can answer a lot of messages very quickly to keep things productive.
Yeah, great. And there's things like auto text fill, on your phone where you can have type a really short phrase and it'll type the entire, so whenever I'm sharing, for instance, when people ask me for the details of my next webinar, I just type the words webinar deets on my phone and the entire link, detail, time, everything will show up. And I think it's really good as well, like what you mentioned, switching off your phone. Like I'm the same. I have my phone on airplane mode the moment I switch off for the day. And I still use it for like the alarm and meditation and things like that. But it's really important that we set our app limits as well. I'm not sure if you've got them, Ed, but they're great because it tells you how many hours you've used, you know, your social media apps, for instance, and it can actually blur all the apps when you've hit your maximum for the day. If you select, for instance, 5, 6, or 3 hours, and I just think it's great that technology is available, but also, you know, it's really important for us to know when to stop and when to switch off, and that we're always being present to our friends and our family in times like these, and any time anyway.
Oh, I think it's well said, Phoebe, and I think you're an absolute influencer master. And all I can say to you is, bravo for the great work. I mean, you're already a Facebook rock star, and bravo for taking off on LinkedIn. You're absolutely shattering the sky, Phoebe. There.
Oh, thanks, Ed. And I really appreciate your community, your awesome community. They are really lovely, really genuine. And lastly, how can we all connect with you? And is there anything else that you'd like to share?
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. The best way to connect with me is Facebook, LinkedIn. You're also welcome to connect with me on Facebook and Insta, but I'm more of a LinkedIn guy. But to connect with me on LinkedIn, I'll only accept your connection request if you say Phoebe Lay is awesome. If you don't, I won't accept it. If you say Phoebe Lay is awesome, I'll definitely connect with you. So definitely LinkedIn. And just a closing thought I want to say to everyone is, really be smart. And again, if you're, watching this, make sure you really engage with Phoebe Lay. I've known Phoebe Lay for a while now. Very smart lady with a heart of gold. So again, listen to Phoebe. She knows what she's doing, and she absolutely has your better interests at heart.
Thanks, Ed. So great to have you on. And thanks, guys, so much for watching as well.